Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
It is feature time in Tulsa. Let's go green.
He's got the run, but is it enough? It's a drag race to the finish. Culver goes from third to first in the last quarter.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races such as the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR calendar, such as the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600. We have races from disciplines across the racing world, from the Indy 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events use iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against everyone taking part. As every race progresses, watch and feel the track change, with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline, or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
What's going on, race fans, and welcome to All-Star 15 TV. On the show tonight, it's round number 7 for the Rev Limit Sports Car Series from Circuito De Jerez. This 15-turn, 2.75-mile racetrack. It definitely looks fun. We've seen a lot of drivers try to get acclimated to these turns, keeping it on the racetrack and not in the dirt. But before we go any further, bringing up the wonderful people in the broadcast booth with me this evening, the one, the only, Joe Hutchings.
Hello, everybody. How
What's
is
up?
everybody doing this evening?
I'm not bad. How are you, Joe? I know today's been rather eventful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a fun day.
Yeah, well, you can come here, relax, and watch some hopefully fun racing, because it looks like these drivers are going to have a lot of issues with this racetrack. It's very tight. It's a MotoGP track, and we're gonna try to run endurance racing on it, so it's definitely gonna be interesting. But the other broadcaster that I'd like to bring in, returning from last week, It's Brandon Store.
You know, it's a good sign when you don't mess it up in week 1 enough that you get invited back for week 2. So happy to be here. Excited to see this track. Again, this is a track I'm not familiar with. It's a MotoGP track. So it should put on some tight eventful racing and some off-track moments.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. And Brandon, you're always welcome. Love having you up here talking with you. Your knowledge of how a lot of racing works. And your aspect on things is very, very fun to listen to, and usually the absolute opposite of Joe, which is great for TV. But they're gritting your starting lineup: Fozzie Fazillo, Dustin Neerhoof, your front two in the LMP2s. And it's Austin Dilt, Parker Dime, Joshua Jackson, Jacob Quayle, Robert Williams, Mike Robinson, Kelman Giori, Morgan Smith, and Matthew Lothan in the GT3s. And in the GT4, it's just a small field: Chris Edwards, John Holloway, and Scott Hara, as we are starting to grid about halfway through the race course. When you guys look at this race course, the 15 turns, where do you think some of the major passing zones are going to be? Because if you're looking at it, I think it's going to be 1, it's going to be 7, and then probably coming all the way down to 15. Everything else is going to be a momentum and, for the most part, a setup turn, if for lack of a better terms.
Well, me personally, I'm looking at it. I believe what's going to be extremely important for these drivers to do is coming out of the kink, or I don't know what they would call that in particular, but right around that turn 10, 11 standpoint, you're going to want to maximize coming out of that turn, because as you said, turn 15, you're going to want to be quick there. However, you also want to make sure that coming out of turn 15, you have your longest straightaway, and that is going to be a point where you're going to want to make sure you have a good dive down into turn 1.
Yeah, I kind of want to say it like 2 weeks in a row. You go from one racetrack where you're going to need a good exit out of the final turn to another good racetrack where you're going to have to make a good exit out of the turn. Watkins Glen last week to this week here at Jerez, and I'm not hearing sound from iRacing. So give me a second.
Well, and while you're looking at that real quick and getting that squared away, one thing I think we'll see just from looking at the layout of this track, this is going to be something where drivers are going to have great flow, which means if they're just going to be on throttle, off throttle, on the brake really quickly, they're going to struggle. They're going to need to balance their throttle input in order to keep the corners at not their maximum throttle, but maximum pace.
And we're having an issue here. What it looks like the LMP2s, there's only one of them. Neerhoof, starting from pit road. Playing some games, it looks like. But here we go.
Green flag.
And there it is, green flag in the air for all 3 divisions as you see them separate all the way up the hill towards turn number 1. Further behind, there's the GT3s getting through it side by side for 2. They'll figure that out by the time they get to turn number 4.
Well, I can tell you that Dustin Neerhoff has come off pit road. He has made it onto the track. He's roughly an entire turn segment behind the GT4 field, so he's going to have to find his way through that GT4 field.
I think Dustin Neerhoof is looking to have some fun tonight, is what I'm thinking.
Sometimes you inflict your own pain.
Oh, no. I think he's going to come through this field relatively fast. But getting to Fozzie Fazillo is going to be a different story, as we're already seeing some battles on the racetrack. Joshua Jackson in the famous number 6 Porsche in second, trying to hold off Parker Dime on this first lap. There it is, Dustin Neerhoof already making a pass, 2 passes. Scott Hara, John Holloway, and now closing in on Chris Edwards right in front of him.
He's already made up 2 seconds.
Up a little bit further, Mike Robinson trying to hold off Calmaggiore.
Neerhoff has already made up 3 seconds. It's funny to watch.
Well, we're gonna have to see how it plays out. As we're staying with this battle, as Giori has made the pass move up that 71 McLaren to P6 in class.
When you saw there that maximizing turn 15 absolutely made a difference down that long straightaway, gave him the room that he needed into one. That is absolutely a setup corner that you're going to want to make sure that you're great out of. You're right on board here with him now with Calmaggiore.
Man, this track looks like a lot of fun.
I expected this
really
track
does.
to look difficult, and it doesn't. It definitely looks difficult from a turn standpoint, but from a width standpoint, I expected this track to be thinner. I feel like it'd be really fun to run.
So for me, I think the first portion of the racetrack is rather nice and easy, but then you get into the technical from 7 onward, and that's where you're going to see a lot of the really good technical drivers start to come through and make up some time. As there goes Neerhoof again. He's still almost 15 seconds back. Going through traffic, guys. He's kind of lost a little bit of time, but that's kind of expected going through the GT3 field right now.
Yeah, those cars are going to be a lot quicker and not as easy work as the GT4 cars are. Which, interestingly enough, last week I made the point that the Fords were both in GT3 and GT4 and could be challenging as you come up on them. In this race this week, GT4 field is all Fords. There are no Fords in the GT3 field.
Well, that'll make it a tad bit easier.
A little bit. If you see a Mustang, avoid it. As you would typically do with the Mustang, you'd avoid it.
And the Mustangs right now are 20 seconds slower than the GT3 field.
Where's our boy, the boy wonder for the GT4s? He didn't show up tonight.
Dak is not here. A lot of drivers did not have this racetrack, so they are electing to not make the trip to Jerez.
Well, interestingly enough, looking at some lap time, just to give you an idea, so 5th place right now, he has the 3rd fastest lap time on the track. So he's going to be one who's going to be a mover coming through the field. Robert Williams. He's coming up on Jacob Quayle, who you see there on the screen. So Robert Williams, he's got the 3rd fastest lap time overall. Dustin Diltz being number 1 and Joshua Jackson the 2nd fastest.
Oh, and this is going to help. This is going to help Neerhoof a lot.
No.
You cannot park there.
Going into the final turn on the racetrack. Oh, he was going way too fast. That gap has fallen down to under 10 seconds now.
That's exactly what Dustin Neerhoof was looking for.
I don't think Dustin Neerhoof needed it. I think he could just run his race, and by the end of the 45 minutes, it's a very fast race. They'll throw in one pit stop around halfway-ish. But just looking at lap times, last time by, a 1:36.35 for Neerhoof, fastest of the lobby and the LMP2s, obviously. And last time by for Fazillo, 1:42 flat.
The difference, though, is that before that spin, Fazillo just had to manage his gap, and he had to run his own race. He already had an advantage. Yes, it wasn't a huge advantage. It was 14 seconds, and it was self-inflicted, but he had the advantage. Whereas now the pressure's on him. He's on hotter tires. He knows he's made a mistake already once, and the pressure's going to be on not to do it again.
Yeah, I think all the pressure is on Fazillo. Neerhoof, who's doing really good in the points, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But has to keep it on the racetrack, going the right way, and just put competitive lap times down. They don't need to be qualifying laps, as crossing the line there at 7.5 seconds of a gap. A little bit further back in the field, Parker Dime closing in on Joshua Jackson. You can see it coming up the hill towards turn number 1. Parker Dime's looking to grab the position he lost on the the start of the race.
Well, I can tell you, looking at lap times again, Robert Williams, like I said, in 5th place, really coming through the field. He's not around cars quite yet, but he is coming around the track at a very fast pace. He's the second fastest lap this past lap.
And right now, Fozzie Fazillo is currently your points leader with 18:01. Then it's Dustin Neerhoof with 17:62. Dylan Neward, 12:75. That's your LMP2 drivers. Your GT3 Pro, Joshua Jackson with 17:71. Jacob Coyle with 16:52. Parker Dime, 16:37. Austin Diltz, 14:33. And rounding out the top 5, Matthew Lothian, 13:90. GT4s, this is where I think we're going to see some shakeup. Dak with 1980, John Holloway with 1630, Scott Hara with 1100 flat.
This
So we're gonna have
GT3
some
battle is
shakeups.
getting heated.
Yeah, they're DRS training right now without any DRS. 4 under a blanket, coming all the way up the hill towards turn number 1.
Well,
Making the pass. Joshua Jackson looks to the outside.
Jacob Quayle and Robert Williams were able to make up a lot of that gap because Parker Dime and Joshua Jackson were in a battle during a rhythmic part of the track. And I made the mention at the beginning of the race, being able to get a rhythm doesn't mean you're the fastest car. It means you're holding the best pace through some of these turns. And with them being side by side, they could not do that.
No, not at all. And we're going to keep it with this battle because this is the closest battle on the racetrack. Austin Diltz, leader in the GT3s, 5.5 seconds ahead of P2 and on. So this is the closest battle. And where can Joshua Jackson get to the back bumper of Parker Dime and kind of hold serve to the passing zone? Was not able to make it work going into turn 1 last time by. So he's really going to have to pick and choose his moments and has to really be careful just for the fact of 2 other drivers, 2 hungry drivers, Jacob Quayle and Robert Williams right behind him looking for a spot as they go through the chicane.
Got a fun fact for y'all.
Yes, sir?
Austin Diltz ran a 139.9. Would technically unofficially set the track record in real life.
For a GT3?
Yes.
Dang. What's the track record
By-
for LMP2 or equivalent?
That I do not know, but I know they have a GT3 record. Equivalent to an LMP2 car, you're probably looking in the 135, 136 range.
Well, right now we have Dustin Neerhoff, a 135.33. Last time by, fastest of everybody on the racetrack.
GT4, you're looking at like 150.6. So they're about 2 seconds off a record time.
So the GT3s are absolutely hauling the mail around this racetrack, Joe, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Well, and I'm pretty sure that fastest lap time was put up when that DRS train, as we called it, was going on. So staying in a tight pack definitely makes a difference in your lap time. But I don't know that it makes a difference with the stress levels. You want to be more spread out.
Diltz has been he's in a whole nother realm right now. So
I know it's just one lap, but last time, Parker Dime, 140.37 to Austin Dilt's, 140.50. Not really much to go off of being that close together, but if anybody's going to chew away at Austin Dilt, it's we've seen it out of Parker Dime before.
So right, the world record lap around this, the fastest lap that ever happened here was a 1:23.1.
Is that on four wheels or two?
That was four wheels, and that was Formula One.
Formula One raced here? How long ago?
1997 was the last year, and they have not been allowed to host a GP event since because the mayor of the town went and presented a trophy when he wasn't supposed to. It is there's an interesting story behind it.
Well, at least you
All
didn't build a
for-
house nearby.
You're right. I would. You see, this is the thing. I would build a house up next to a racetrack.
I would too. I just wouldn't be a Karen about it afterwards.
Exactly.
You guys making fun of New Hampshire Motor Speedway here?
And Nashville.
And Nashville.
Laguna take a couple others.
That's the whole reason
Of
why
course.
New Hampshire can't have lights.
Well, and unfortunately, near and dear to my heart, Vandermeer, near where I live, unfortunately, shut down because they built houses nearby and people complained. And then the housing development said, well, what if we buy the racetrack? And they did, tore it down, and are now building houses where the racetrack was.
Oh, God.
That's what they want to do with Cletus McFarland's track, the Freedom Factory. But, you know.
Looks like we've hit a little bit of a stalemate between Dime, Jackson Quill, and Williams. They've started to separate themselves as they go through the couple GT4 vehicles.
You need to go up to that LP2 for race.
Yep, that's where I was going. In sight.
He has cut that down to only being 3 seconds back.
Yeah, that's insane.
So next week, is Neerhoof going to start from pit road and go down a half a lap?
Well, and was this done? Was it a bet or was it a mistake or a choice?
Either way, it was definitely going to be interesting to see how long it would take, or even if he could get to Fazilo. But the MotoGP does not take the chicane in that turn. I love that they put it in there because I think it would be a very high speed corner and a flat corner for these drivers to take. And we would see more incidents in that corner. But just looking at this last lap, a 135.7 to a 137.2.
I'm surprised that the track type isn't higher.
Wow, it's only 68 degrees. Hey, no kidding.
I know.
Oh, that's only one off.
Oh my Jesus.
From 6-7, right?
Okay.
8, 9, 10.
Exactly.
I don't know if anybody felt me just facepalm myself there for a second, as we have a first taker on pit road, just 9 laps in. It's Mike Robinson coming in. Very early for a pit stop.
This may be a very... It's an interesting move because it is an undercut. I think he can make it from this point in time to the very end. It could give him some freedom, but he wasn't around a ton of traffic, so it is a questionable move.
As we're seeing Robert Williams close in on Jacob Quayle, that gap has gone down to about a half a second.
Yeah, Robinson's rolling again.
Here we go. Has to make the pass next time by.
He's just playing with his food at this point. I know some drivers out there on iRacing that like to do that. I'm one of them.
Dalton.
Or you're not
Scott.
nomming on the wall.
Oh, snap.
I don't hit walls and straightaways. My name isn't Mike Robinson. I mean, what?
I've seen
Snap
you at
again.
Le Mans, and that right now, Nierhoff is treating this like Le Mans, just absolutely roasting over top of these curbings, treating them like, they're a plaything.
And what's funny, this is a fixed setup league, so a lot of the time going over these curbs will upset the vehicle, but just hitting them just right. That was our buddy.
That was almost death of the LMP2 field right there, trying to avoid that.
That was our buddy.
Yeah, and that's where when you're a GT3 driver, sometimes you want to be nice and you want to go to the outside to allow an LMP2 car to go by, but in transparency, the LMP2 is probably thinking you're going to follow your racing line. I haven't dove in yet, but the flash of the lights made it challenging for Mike to be able to understand, are you going to try and dive bomb me or not? You just got to be predictable as a GT3 driver. It looked like he tried to go to the outside a little bit of that turn, and when you change up your line, you're going to make a mistake and spin out. It almost with the detriment of the entire front of that field.
Fazillo making that LMP2 as wide as possible. Nierhoff not able to make the pass last time by. Just under 20 minutes of race time so far this evening. We go to 45. Don't go anywhere when we hit checkered as Nierhoff goes off the racetrack. What's up, Mike? Without any spoilers, how's Raw? Can't wait to jump into the Discord and watch it after we conclude the stream this evening.
What's really cool about watching this battle here, Dustin Nierhoff, I made the mention that he's using the curbing. He's using a ton of the curbing. If I'm Fozzie, I want to be looking in my mirror a little bit to understand where is he faster. And it's specifically the fact that he's making that car as wide as possible, putting it on edge on that curb. And if you were to go around this track watching the two of them, that's the biggest difference maker between these two drivers. Specifically in that rhythm area, you saw he was using not only the outside, but the inside curbing as well, just trying to stretch out that track.
Oh, Fazillo takes a little bit of the sand.
He was going to try it. But even right there on the entry right there into that corner into turn 15, you saw how wide Nierhoff took it in comparison to Fazillo. It just allows you to arc that corner and get a more precise exit when you do so.
And they were almost even on that lap. Nierhoff was 0.05 faster, but you could see on the sector chart that they were trading sectors, and they were pretty close on time-wise.
Well, and where Nierhoff is faster, specifically in what you were saying, it's during those tough rhythmic portions of the track, whereas there's not a lot of passing zones. So it's the passing zone areas, though, where they're pretty equal, and so it's tough to be able to make that pass. And you're trying your hardest. You can see him flashing his lights, trying to, maybe psych him out a little bit or just say, hey, I want to get by you. But, I mean, he doesn't have to let you by at all. He's the leader. Yeah, I can just lay over for that.
I think it's more psychological warfare.
He's just sitting there.
And have another beer.
Ooh, nice block.
Yeah, that was a great
Nice
block.
block.
Yeah, he had the position to be able to make that block, and it would have been on Nierhoff. He's got to make sure he's going into the turn with his lap traffic may play a factor.
Now, with everything going on, do you think... I still think, in a way, Nierhoff is protecting his tires to make them last the full race. Most of the time, these drivers don't take tires anyway. I think Fazillo, on how he's running to not lose first place, is roasting those Michelin tires.
See, and I don't know that he necessarily is, because if you look at the lap times, they're still pretty similar. Fazillo hasn't slowed down the pace, sped up the pace. He's kept it pretty consistent. And if I'm Nearhoof, I want to get by him, not just because I want the lead of the race, but you're more likely to make a mistake when you can't run the pace, the speed, the lines you've been practicing because another car is there.
And going back to lap times, because it's one of the biggest tools we have. Nearhoof's fastest lap time is a 1:35.20. He's running a 1:36.3. Fazillo is almost identical on best lap to pace lap. So he's running the same pace from the beginning of the race to now. And honestly, Brandon, I think that supports what you were just saying.
Yeah, I mean he was trying to go all out. I won't say that Dustin's not now saving something, because he definitely is, as long as he doesn't make a mistake having to adjust his line. But I don't know that Fazillo ups the pace or reduced the pace any.
Where I think these drivers are going to see the biggest change is whoever pits first is going to come out away from each other for a lap or two. I think if Fazillo hits pit road first, that's when we're going to see Nearhoof put the jets on, for lack of a better term. And when he hits pit road, he's then going to come out of pit road ahead of Fazillo, because he doesn't have the buffer in front of him anymore. And I'm really excited to see how we see pit strategy and who ends up coming down pit road first.
Well, and I think regardless of the overcut or the undercut, I think Nearhoff is going to probably get him at pit stops. But the question I have for you two, does he take the over or does he take the under? Oh, as it doesn't matter. He just took the lead.
What a move.
There was a little bit of an overcook by Fazillo. Missed his corner a little bit. Pushed up. Did what he had to do to make sure he didn't get in the gravel.
If I'm Fozzie right now, you're at halfway, come to pit road, take the fuel, and get back out on the racetrack. Oh!
Oh!
Ooh, wow.
That was almost the entire LMP2 field getting destroyed right there. And we talked about it. We were saying Nearhoff has been using that curbing so much. And when you do, you're on edge. It's so entertaining. But that right there is what can happen.
And just like that, Fazillo makes the pass back. Nearhoof gonna have to do it all over again.
So I'll ask again, boys. Do you take the over or do you take the under?
Under.
The minute the window opens to the end of the race, I would say hit pit road. Because then it'll also separate you from the other driver.
I think I agree. If I'm Nearhoof, I would agree that I take the under. Typically, for weight reasons, I wouldn't want to take the under. But when you have less pressure because you're in control taking the under and you can decide how fast you need to go to get past them, it's so much more, I guess, freeing to have that control as opposed to taking the over and knowing you have to run that much faster.
Chris Edwards in the GT4s is on pit road, on pit exit. Still P2 in the GT4s, being led by John Holloway. That gap is looking at about almost 14 seconds. The GT3's Austin Diltz is now under a 5-second lead to Parker Dime. Third place, Joshua Jackson, and right behind him in Acura is Robert Williams, about a half a second back.
I'm impressed he's able to make the Acura do things.
Why, is it normally a poop wagon?
I feel like when I drive the Acura, it is a giant dumpster trying to go around the track. But he's able to wheel it. I mean, he's put down great lap times. He's coming up here on Joshua Jackson. And before we flipped over to this camera, I was going to make mention that gap was definitely closing as we see they're now within 0.3 of each other.
I like the Acura because it can it does trail braking better.
Well, and you could see during that rhythm section
Joshua
specifically what
Jackson
Robert
on pit
Williams was
road.
doing. Yep, as we
Austin
see Joshua hit
tilts
pit
as
road,
well.
what we were able to see with Robert Williams is that he was using the curbing on the entry portions of that rhythm track, and that was allowing him to be able to set up his exit, as I spoke about at the beginning.
Back up to our lead in the LMP2s. Mind you, Fozzie Fazillo has the points lead. He's been here every week, while Neerhoof has missed a week or two. And we're on race 7 of 10. Neerhoof has to start making some headway, and by doing so, is going to have to pass Fazillo for the lead at some point.
Is anyone else surprised by the fact that the GT3s have hit pit road before the LMP2s?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
I'm a little surprised by that. I anticipated GT3s probably would have tried to make the run again as extended as possible, whereas you can definitely mess up the balance of an LMP2. You don't really mess up the balance of a GT3 with your weight loss.
Traffic playing a huge deal between the two of them.
Can you bump draft in an LMP2?
Hey, if you want somebody
Yes.
in a wall, I feel like.
Oh, it's possible if you get the right person pushing.
Well, and right there is where you can see Fozzie really has to make a block in order to keep Neerhoff behind him, and it was because Neerhoff uses so much of that curbing in that section.
I really think, and to Joe's credit, said it a while ago, that Neerhoof was playing with his food and now is making the slightest of mistakes and losing ground.
Yeah, you're more likely to make mistakes the closer you are to that car in front of you. You're likely to make them make a mistake, but Fozzie has been really grounded in this entire battle, as we now see that Neerhoff has now dropped to being 1.5 seconds back after struggling through that rhythm portion of the track where you have to be extremely consistent.
Yeah, the chicane killed him last time by.
And I said at the beginning that was a spot to watch specifically coming out of that chicane. In order to set up turn 15, you had to be smooth through there. Otherwise, you were going to gain a lot of time, and you can see it right there with the 1.6 second gap.
Matthew Lothian having issues on the racetrack. We'll step back to that for a second. Oh, out of the chicane, loses it. Gets back on the racetrack, or trying to get back on the racetrack.
It's just a
And
kiss.
then
I
comes
think
the pit road.
probably no harm, no foul.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a black flag on his end, so I think he just overcooked the tires a little bit and then came to pit road. Jacob Quayle, 7/10 back of Robert Williams. Under 15 minutes remaining into tonight's race.
Really?
That's it.
Dang.
Race goes by fast, boys.
Well, and we got Fazillo on pit road now.
And there you have it, guys. There's your undercut. Fazillo hits pit road. Do we think we see Neerhoof on pit road next time by? Or do we think he's staying out on the racetrack to try to expand his lead?
I don't know if he's capable of staying on the track for too much longer without needing to pit, but if I'm him, I extend it out as far as I can in order to make up a gap, especially knowing I was 1.4, 1.5 off when he came down. I need to make that up with some blistering laps where I don't have to worry about him, minimal traffic, set my pace.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a problem for Fazillo because of the open track and not being pressured by another LMP2 driver. Let's see if if Nearhoof puts down a blister of a lap as he is stuck behind Parker Dime in front of him.
Well, I think it's going to be actually a problem for Nearhoof as he's having a little bit of difficulty getting by him right here. He's not going to be able to make up as much time as he wanted, and he doesn't have a ton of time until he has to pit.
It took him forever to get by Parker Dime. That is by far hazardous to his lap time, and exactly what Fazillo wanted to see. As here
Well, and he comes down pit road.
Gap of 39 seconds. See how that's going to translate.
Well, and I believe Fazillo is going to be in front as he comes down pit road here. I think, if anything, it's possible that Nearhoof lost time with having to deal with Parker Dime.
Absolutely, Brandon.
Going to set up a great finish for us, though. I'll tell you that.
Oh, but that's going to hurt his time.
No! Ozzy.
It's the commentator curse.
And on pit exit, Dustin Nearhoof is going to come out with the race lead. Fazillo lost 8 seconds going off the racetrack. Let's see what that gap is like when timing and scoring finally gets it.
Well, and I think Fozzie may have taken tires. Having colder tires may have been what did him in, whether it be right sides, left sides, because just that spin out right there, there's still a pretty large gap. You're looking at a 15-second gap right now between him and Nearhoof. And Nearhoof's stop was pretty quick. I don't think Nearhoof took tires.
No, I don't think Nearhoof ever takes tires. As I'm looking back to see how long Fazillo's let's see. I mean, he was in his pit box for almost 17 seconds. Is that enough to take tires as well?
Not in the LMP2 car.
Nearhoof was in the car, in his pit box for just under 15 seconds.
Yeah, so it's about a 2 seconds.
He also pitted later. Yeah, he also pitted later.
So you're looking at a 2-second pit time to the good of Nearhoof, and then Fazillo's incident in the chicane being 8 seconds. So realistically, Nearhoof would still have the lead, but it would be 4 seconds, 5 seconds coming off a pit road. It's completely different than almost 17 seconds. As it looks like the 18 with another issue. Oh, steps on a little too hard.
Whoops. Or in the words of Bob Euchre, just a bit outside.
Well, and I think you're reading my mind, AJ, as you jump here to Jacob Quayle. I was just about to mention how Jacob Quayle, before the pit cycles, was in third place. And now is currently in fourth. Robert Williams has made that pass on him as they have about a 1.25 seconds gap between the two of them.
Closest battle we have on the racetrack right here as well. And Quayle can see right out of his windshield Williams. What kind of motivation, if you have it, Brandon, does that do for you when you could actually see the next position right there in front of you?
It's either motivation or frustration, because right there, Jacob Quayle's lap time was about a second slower than Robert Williams. So the pressure's on and you're frustrated. You see him, you want to get there, but you have to be smooth. You cannot overdrive the car, especially at a track like this. It'll slow you down if you overdrive that car.
Yeah, if you overdrive it even a little bit, most of these turns have those gravel sand pits. You're going to be in the beach and probably need some help. We
Yeah,
saw
you
a
don't even
couple
get like a
drivers.
mimosa.
What was that, Brandon?
I was making a joke. I apologize. Getting the sand on the beach, you don't even get a mimosa. Like, what kind of rig is that?
No, we saw earlier how difficult and how long it takes to get out of those sand traps. I think it was actually Mike Robinson where he gets into one of those and it takes him almost 5 seconds to get back to the racetrack. Brendan, what's up, pal? How are you doing? We just have about 8 minutes remaining into tonight's race. It's been a barn burner. Nearhoof started from pit road. Took about 30 minutes to get through the whole field. Go back. It was a great battle between him and Fazillo for what felt like almost 10 minutes. And then once pit stops happened, that's kind of where it separated itself. But right now we are checking the battle between Williams and Quayle. And now Joshua Jackson putting good lap times together.
Well, not to pull us away from this, but I do want to give the GT4 class some love. Chris Edwards being out in front of the GT4 class. He is currently putting up lap times about 3 seconds faster than second place John Holloway. So he's cooking in that pink Ford Mustang we got there on screen, the number 11 car, doing a great job holding onto that lead. And then Scott Hara is putting up lap times similar to what John Holloway is doing.
Yeah, it looks like Holloway and Hare are pretty close lap time wise, but then Chris Edwards has NOS or nitrous or what have you in that car, because the minute he hits the straightaways, that Mustang puts the rubber down and flies. Just like that, a 152.4. Oh, a 152.18 evens his best lap of the race. Jesus. Holy cow.
He's able to make that thing fly like a Kimball dumpster, the ones that look nicer rather than the waste management ones.
Oh,
And I say that because these GT4 cars are a dumpster to drive. I give these drivers so much credit being able to wheel those things around the track because there's so much body roll in them. They don't have the aerodynamics to them. You can just see them kind of slip sliding around that turn.
it's a road car. That's why it's a road car with a roll cage and a wing.
Oh, Nearhoof, black flag, having to come to pit road.
Oh no!
He goes off track one too many times and now has to come to pit road with just over 5 minutes remaining. Fazillo now coming through the final turn. There is the gap. Oh, this is even probably more of a heartbreak for Fazillo, thinking that Nearhoof has an issue, that he's got a chance just for Nearhoof to re-enter the racetrack. A second and a half, now 1 second. Nearhoof is slowing. Nearhoof is slowing a lot. And there goes Fazillo through the lead.
Well, and as he got that black flag, you gotta wonder for where he was on track. Did he make contact with anything?
It's not showing it, but I think right now we saw it throughout the whole race. Nearhoof would use the rumble strips, use every bit of the racetrack. I'm really starting to think that he might have used too much, too many times. Gets the black flag, and now has to really be careful.
Well, I'm wondering because where he had spun out, it was right at pit road, and coming out of the kink or the pseudo bus stop right here, you get in and off of that curbing right there, specifically even right here. You take it out a little bit too wide as you exit there. You got to wonder if he came back across track, maybe he almost hit something, because his car, it seems a little bit slower. I guess we'll have to see when the lap times come in.
Oh, this lap is definitely going to be cooked because it's his first lap out of pit road. But if he's on an incident number, he really has to be careful on how far he uses outside of the racing limits. He's keeping it close. Oh, and he's going off the racetrack again into the kitty litter. That gap is growing now. Plus 2 seconds. 2.5 seconds. Gonna even out around 2.5. One mistake leads to another near hoof off the racetrack.
That's that stress of overdriving the car on that curbing. The curbing is unforgiving, especially in the LMP2.
This is the equivalent of the New York Giants Broncos game yesterday.
Ouch.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, but that game made me happy. I want to see these two duke it out, have the best possible outcome for both. I know they both can't win, but you definitely hate to see a mistake be the reason why a driver loses. But I mean, that was when you're consistent, you win races.
And that's what Fazillo has been all season long, is consistent. Makes every race, every lap. I think he's only finished one lap down in one race. And it's why he's got the points lead.
Well, and it's not over by any means. I think we may have 2 or 3 laps left total based on the time. My gut reaction is that it's going to be 2 laps total. But it is only a 2-second gap as they're working their way through traffic. So it depends on if Fozzie's going to get held up by, this car here, getting pushed a little bit wide. Yeah, Joshua Jackson's just trying to run his own race as well. He's trying to put on a good performance. He doesn't have to lay down for anyone.
As Joshua Jackson was just black flagged.
Well, now he's going to have to lay down for some people, but
his night is gonna go from bad to worse. Started in the 3rd position, he's running in 5th. He's gonna drop all the way back to most likely 6th, and I would say 6th. I don't think he's gonna make it to 7th where Robinson is. But up front, that battle is starting to close in once again.
Well, Nierhoff has got it now down to about a second and a half as he's still trying to do everything he can. He put it a little wide earlier, had to whip that car back into position to make sure it didn't go all the way off the track.
Are we allowed to cheer for people? Because I would really be cheering for Fozzie right now.
Yeah, it would be...
I mean, I'm cheering for Nierhoff. He's been entertaining
White
all
flag
night.
in the
Oh,
air.
there's a car off on the
What?
side.
And that is Chris Edwards coming to a stop on the front straightaway. What is going on with
Why
the
are we
leader
parking
in
there?
the GT3s?
This is
I've got
that
nothing.
isn't right.
He's
Well, I
moving
think he's
again.
moving again. Based on the interval, I wonder if he was doing that to try and ensure that he didn't have to take an extra lap based on fuel.
That, or he's trying to make it so he doesn't have to run another lap while his 2 other drivers are going to have to, locking him into that position no matter what coming across the line.
That's very possible, but I don't know that I love the sportsmanship on that if that's the case. It's a strategy. I mean, do what it takes, but I'd like to see these drivers run all out.
Just a little bit left in the final lap. Coming towards the chicane for the final time with GT3 cars everywhere. Can Fazillo hold on to P1 coming down to turn number 15? No chance whatsoever from Nierhoff into the final turn. Fazillo, first time this season, goes all the way to Spain and grabs his first win at Jerez.
There you go, Fozzie. Good job.
Oh!
Here, congratulations, rebuild the car.
I bet they're laughing right now.
Oh, absolutely. Austin Diltz
Well, I mean,
now with 8.5 seconds to Parker Dime. Nobody in sight on his end for position. Brandon, what were you going to say about Fazillo and Nierhoff while we have about 15 seconds.
I was just going to make a joke about how in other sports sometimes as a congratulations, you do a little smack of the rear end. That's all he was doing.
That wasn't a smack, that was a destroy. Chris Edwards has grabbed the checkered for the GT4s. This we're just watching right now is for the GT3s, and being 10 seconds up on Parker Dime, Austin Dilt easily taking the checkered flag in the GT3s. Don't go anywhere, anybody. We will talk to our 3 winners here this evening if we can get a hold of them.
Well, and Austin Diltz did a great job holding that lead the entire race for the most part. He was dominant all day, and the GT3s put on a great battle throughout the middle section of that race.
Well, your top 4 overall, Brandon, did not change position whatsoever.
I do believe Robert Williams was having to change positions a few times, but the top 2 for sure had a great hold on their positions.
Because now we're just waiting on drivers or our 3 winners to come up to the interview waiting room if they would like to be interviewed. Fazillo, Diltz, and Edwards. Joe, what are your thoughts on tonight's race?
That LMP2 battle was pretty good at the end. The GT3 race at the beginning where they had their little DRS train going, that was pretty cool. And kind of ho hum for the GT4s, but congratulations to all our winners.
Yeah, it felt like the whole race between Fazillo and Earhoof on how it was back and forth with, oh, here comes Nearhoof, gonna make the pass, gonna pull away, to then him making the pass, doesn't pull away, makes a mistake, and Fazillo takes advantage of it. This race had so much parity involved, and it's why I like racing so much, to be honest with you.
Well, and personally, I think if you're looking to do road racing and get better at road racing, I think this race specifically is one that you should want to go back and watch, whether it be LMP2 or GT3, because both races gave you the ability to see how the draft makes a difference, how your entry into a corner and your exit make a difference, and how wide you take it compared to other drivers. There were moments where cars were nose to tail taking different lines, and you could see the gap close just by a little bit of a difference on where your car is. If you go back and study those things, you can definitely improve your racecraft by watching this.
And that's really what this league is. This league is for the experienced and the new drivers. They allow certain assists and stuff to help out people to have a good time. It's not just about who's really good and who can run away with a race. It's who wants to learn and have fun doing it. As we finally have the winner overall and in the LMP2s for the first time this season. What's up, Fozzie?
What's happening, fellas?
Congratulations. You definitely had a nail biter out there with you and Dustin. It seems like every time Dustin would get by you, he'd make a mistake or you would cause him to make a mistake and you'd get going, and it was a great battle between you two. What do you got?
Yeah, honestly, he was just playing with me. He was so much faster than me. It was ridiculous. But he ended up making a mistake, and then he couldn't catch up. But I'll take it. I don't mind.
Well, it's your first win of the season. You are the points leader. How does that feel, though, that it's your first win, but coming into tonight, you made every race, I think you've had every lap but one or two we've ran this season, and you come away with the win, and into next week you're to be able to hold on to that points lead now with a W next to your name.
Yeah, I dig that. It's nice to have it no matter how you get it, and consistency. You got to stay out of trouble, and that's how I've been able to get up to the points lead. Just staying out of trouble and being consistent. There's not a lot of P2s, unfortunately, but I don't think I would be in that much of a different position if everybody had stayed, because it's crazy out there with the GT4s. But I'm having a good time, so that's all that matters.
Well, we go from Spain to Fiji. What are we expecting out of you when we head to Fiji next week?
You mean Fuji?
Fuji? Sorry.
That's okay. I mean, I would have been excited to go to Fiji, but I dig Fuji a lot, and I think there's going to be a lot more room for everybody, so it should be a much cleaner race, and should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's another racetrack where it's going to be a brand new experience. Going to have to do a couple videos to figure out the racetrack and everything, but I'm excited. You put on a hell of a battle. I think we were on you and Dustin for a good half the race, if not more, because it was so close, and you guys were testing each other, and you made that LMP2 so wide on that racetrack. You have a lot
there
to
were
be
times
proud
where I
of.
definitely let him know that I didn't want him to pass.
I think we saw it multiple times.
That's awesome.
But dude, before we let you go, anybody you'd like to plug before we let you celebrate the win here this evening?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast and the league. We're having a good time racing in the league. And of course, my teammates at WBM, they help me get better all the time. We do a lot of racing by ourselves. Austin and Mo park it like a few feet behind my car so that I get used to having people behind me. It doesn't bother me, things like that. So my teammates, for sure. I love those guys.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Well, congratulations on the win. We'll see you next week at Fuji.
All right, boys, see you there.
Good thing I didn't go to Fiji. All right. Well,
you joke about Fiji, but there is also times we mentioned the beach, so it's in the brain.
we are grabbing our GT3 winner, Austin Dilt, coming home with a 10-second win over Parker Dime. Dude, congratulations out there. You start P1 in the GT3s and you come home first in the GT3s. How was it out there, and how was the Aston Martin?
Well, the Aston Martin, as always, is a little bit rowdy, but I was kind of blessed with an uneventful race, so I just kind of went out there and did my laps and didn't have any battles with anyone.
Went out there, went on autopilot, and completely blew away the whole field? Yeah, that makes sense. Well,
Getting lucky.
I wouldn't call it luck, dude. You've been good all season long. But Austin, from tonight to Fuji next week, how we looking for that Aston Martin number 14?
I love Fuji, so I'm definitely looking to hopefully take another top step, but I know Parker and Morgan are going to be fast there, so it'll be tough.
Well, we go 15 turns around here. It just looked like you were able to put that car wherever it needed to go around this 2.75 mile racetrack. Was there any portion of this race where you thought you might have had an issue, but obviously you didn't?
At the end, I kind of started to panic on fuel. I know Parker had like 0.0 or 0.1 cross the line, so he had to save, and that's why the gap went from 3 seconds to 10 seconds there at the end. But I was just hoping that I had enough. I put the gap up to 1.2 at the pit stop, so I lucked out and had, I think, half a lap extra at the end.
Yeah, we saw a couple drivers right at the end of the race have to come to pit road, and for a second I was like, okay, somebody screwed up on the calculations. I wonder if more people are going to. And then you said you were close, and possibly that's why we saw some of the traffic start to dumb down their lap times.
Yeah. That's why Parker at the end was his lap times plummeted.
All right, Austin, before we let you go, any sponsors you'd like to plug?
No, just plug the team, WBM, all the guys coming out. You guys for putting on a good broadcast, and my dad for watching.
Hi, Austin's dad. Ugh. But dude, thanks for coming to talk with us. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Enjoy the GT3 win.
Thank you. You guys have a good night too.
All right. Guys, we had Chris Edwards in the waiting room. I don't know where he went. But let's close up shop. Joe, thanks for once again an awesome Monday night up in the broadcast booth. Brandon, stay safe on your flight tomorrow. Don't give anybody too much of a headache.
Nah, I'll pass out.
Oh, that's good. With help of beverages, or do you just sleep anywhere?
No, as soon as that airplane door shuts, the influx of oxygen being pumped through, I pass out immediately on taxi before we even take off. Typically, my seat reclines itself on takeoff when we start throttling up because I'm already leaning up against it, completely passed out, weightless.
I want what you're on. I wish I could do
It's
that.
just the oxygen. That's all it is.
I can't sleep
I fly
in
enough.
cars.
I fly
I can't
twice
sleep
a
in
month.
planes.
Well, United does a great job. I make sure not to fly, American or anything like that.
Yeah, he doesn't fly
Definitely
with the
not
cattle
weird.
cars like the regular folk.
All right.
Definitely don't.
Before we start talking about airlines, there's a couple that I really dislike and ones that I really, really like, and I think you saying the ones you like kind of just triggered me a little bit because I've had bad experiences. But take care, everybody. Thanks for joining. Hit that like button, subscribe. We'll see you next week at Fuji. But if you want to watch more racing, comes right up Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Come check us out. Come have fun. Join the chat. We'll see you guys then. Peace out, everybody.
Deuces.